Americans weirdly fetishize the Berlin Wall to an absolute extreme degree. The United States has 130 full 12-foot high concrete panels from the original wall, which is far and away the most that are outside of Germany. They can be seen all across the country, everywhere from the Reagan Library in California to at a urinal in Las Vegas. Just for a little context, Poland has the second most with 58 panels, and the Netherlands is number 3 at 28. This deep cultural fascination with the wall has led to an absolutely ridiculous secondary market for the pricing of pieces of the Berlin Wall that are available to the general public. And that market for chipped off chunks of concrete is an excellent object lesson in how demand drives markets much more than rarity. So let's look at some numbers and I'll show you what I mean. The wall was 96 miles in length, 12 feet high, and comprised of 45,000 separate sections of reinforced concrete, and each section is approximately 6,500 pounds. Now when you do the math on that, that means that the wall was a total of almost 300 million pounds, and that doesn't even include the 300 guard towers that ran all along it. Now when you go to eBay, plug in Berlin Wall and sort by sold, you can see that there are hundreds of listings that have sold over the course of the last 60 days. And for smaller pieces, you can see that those prices run anywhere from $10 to $50. So let's just take a look at one example. This bulk seller has sold 161 pieces of the wall at $36 a piece. He specifically notes that these pieces are between 3 and 5 ounces, so if we assume that we can get 3 pieces of wall out of a 16-ounce pound, that would value the entire Berlin Wall at north of $31 billion as a collectible. Now this is obviously an absolutely insane valuation, and much of the wall is not available to the collectible market because when it was pulled down, it was crushed up and used for roadways or was put inside of apartment buildings. But there is still an absolutely enormous supply of these pieces, as can be evidenced by all of the listings on eBay as well as all of the solds that happen every single month. So if there's such an incredible supply, how are people still demanding $30 to $50 and getting it on a regular basis for what is just a chunk of concrete? The answer to that is demand and emotion. See, if you didn't live in the United States in the 50s through the 80s, it's tough to understand what an integral part of our culture the Cold War was. Every single day you were reminded of the danger of the Soviet Union and of communism. You would do drills in schools, you would see it on the news every single night. Even during the Olympics, every story would be about how the United States was doing as compared to the Soviet Union in the medal race. And there are multiple iconic cultural moments that actually happened at the Berlin Wall, including the very famous speech by John F. Kennedy where he declared, "Ich bin ein Berliner," meaning "I am a Berliner," that was designed as a compliment to all of the people of West Germany, as well as the most famous line of President Reagan's administration where he said,
"Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall."
And so the falling of the Berlin Wall became to the American mind that iconic moment when democracy triumphed over communism. And it's hard to understand how deeply impactful emotionally it was for so many Americans that had lived with the reality of the Cold War for decades. And it'll be fascinating to see what the value of these items is 40 years from now, when all of the people that have had that emotional connection to the wall have then passed on. But for the moment, it is a reminder of how markets are driven by demand much more than they ever are for rarity.